Alright guys, so here we go. We're going to jump right into it. This is going to be real fun. In the beginning, we're going to be moving around. I'm using a packet that I had to make several months ago, and so I'm not using all of it as I thought more and more about the course. Now, one thing that you do need for this course is to have a desk to be doing this. You can't be doing this in your car because you need scratch paper, you need pencils, and you really do need to print out parts of this packet. You can go onto the website and see which parts you'll need, but specifically for today, you'll need the toolbox, the Unit 1 toolbox. I'll be adding things to that. And then later on, when we get into the homework section, you'll of course need to print that out because all homework has to be handwritten. Yes, handwritten. And then you can take a picture of it on your cell phone. I don't care. I just need proof. Homework is by completion. That's how I'll grade a lot of it for full points since this is such a transition for everyone. But it has to be completed. So you need to show me proof of that. And if you want to do it online and type it all up, that's fine. But I would much rather have you do it by hand and submit it by hand. Having said that, the test is going to be online. It'll mainly be multiple choice with maybe some fill in the blanks and things. But the homework, I want to see you do it. Think of it as an exercise class. If you're trying to do rowing or swimming or Pilates or whatever it is, what do you expect to do all day, right? You expect to work out. Well, doing the homework is the working out, right? Listening to me talk is like watching a podcast, right? It's pleasure. No, I mean, it doesn't really help you, right? I can talk all day about exercising and you'll learn a lot and you'll probably live your life better because I talk to you about exercising. But are you going to lose weight? Are you going to improve your muscle tone or whatever it is you're going for with exercising, improve your health? No, right? By me talking, you're not. And so that's the same with here. So how are you going to do the work? Well, I just said you're not going to get it by listening to these videos. So it's like, why do I listen to these videos? Well, because you need to listen to videos in order to do the work. Otherwise, you're just scribbling on a paper, making nonsense. So you watch the videos, play along with me, do the little quizzes as they happen. But the main point is for you to do the homework after that. And what's beautiful, it doesn't have to be perfect. We'll go over it, and you'll see how it's done. But it hopefully should be pretty close to perfect because the amount of work we're going to do together in this video series. So let's jump in. So if you were to go to the bookstore, you would see this packet, and you can print this out if you want. It's online, or you can buy it. But we're going to go through here. I used to have a calendar that's I'm making this video early. I'll probably redo this video, but if I don't, this calendar will be most likely on Canvas showing everything. You can kind of see how the class breaks down. Again, I talked about this on the first day, I'm assuming, but just quickly, in case you missed part of it, these are where the assignments are. So this class is based on homework and watching these videos. And I see if you're watching the videos by inserting these little quizzes that are completion based, or all of the answers are right, or whatever it is. It's just, did you watch the video? And there are legitimate questions, but if you get it wrong, it'll tell you what the right answer is and give you the right points. The point is, I want you to check yourself as you're watching these videos and realize if you're sleeping or not, kind of thing. We all need help, hey. But when you stop the video and then you do the homework, bam, homework 1A, 1B, right, 1C, 1D, 1E. What's next, Mr. Rust? Guess what? 2A. What's next? 2B. This one I didn't call chapter 2B, so little typos here and there. So that's it. Basically homework. We are going to have a final project. We'll talk about that later. It'll of course be individually done, and it'll be turned in throughout the videos. Actually, you'll be doing work and submitting stuff in the videos and whatnot. So you won't actually have to turn in a full project. If you do want to compile it all together, make it look nice and neat, and show it to your partner, your family or so, because hey, you did a good job, or maybe an employer. I've made money, honestly, showing my lab reports. That's how I got my first job, so I was showing my lab reports to a boss, saying, hey, look, I can work independently. So if you want to do that, awesome. It won't be required, at least this semester. There's just a lot of new things going around. So we will submit a final project in pieces, and that'll happen toward the end. If you do the math, we have way more days in school than we have homework, right? We have about about 4 or 5 weeks of excess time, and that's all going to be spent on helping you doing the final project through short videos that you'll be doing, and then as we talk about it in class. All right, 5 minutes in, still haven't started. So yes, here's a little note about purchasing the packet. You can read that. I'll leave it here in case you wanted to pause it. I'm going to move forward. All right, I'm going to skip this. This was a beautiful, wonderful thing to create energy and synergy and make you guys feel like, oh, I know statistics. I know. It doesn't work if you're doing it by yourself. So you can read through it if you like, but the gist of it is coming up here in chapter 1. So you all heard a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? Well, what if you instead have like 1,000 numbers? Then how do you maybe describe all of those numbers, right? If I've got all these numbers here, and I don't know, maybe these are the prices people are paying for their, the sandwich that they're buying at my store. You know, I got different kind of sandwiches, you got toppings and all that, and you're just trying to find out, and you know, you tell me, hey, what's a typical price? You know, now maybe you could look at it, but what if I said I need to know exact, because we have like 1 million of these orders, and so whatever price you tell me, I'm going to multiply it times 1 million, and I'm going to tell my boss, hey, this is how much money we made. So can you get it exact, like, you know, to 2 or 3 decimals? Could you do that looking at this? No, right? And so if a picture is worth 1,000 words, a picture could also be worth 1,000 numbers. Well, how do you turn this mess into a beautiful looking graph that has a nice depiction of exactly what, you know, this distribution looks like, and even can tell you where the center of the data are, and ultimately answer the $1,000,000 question is, where is the center of these data? So now that I've made such a beautiful mess here, let's talk a little. In order for us to go further, we need to talk about some vocabulary. And, you know, had we done the thing with the breakfast cereals, we would have introduced some of these concepts. But right now I'm going to introduce them using our toolbox. Okay, so here we are. This is the Unit 1 toolbox, so you'll see this in your folder. I know no one's going to do this, but please pause this video, print this out, write this stuff down. It's really, really stupid for you not to do this. Like, this is, like, please just pause it, you know, pause it, print this out, write this stuff down, okay? You need to take notes on this stuff. If you don't take notes, you're not going to remember any of this, trust me. So if we scroll down toward the bottom, you'll see definitions. This is how our brain works, by the way. It works by categorizing things into like categories, right? We categorize. Sometimes that's bad, right? But in math, it can be good to categorize. And so the first thing we've got to understand are some definitions. So when I say an individual, I do not mean a person. I mean the object we're interested in collecting data from. That could be a house, it could be a person, right? That could be a school of students. So it could be multiple things, you know, it could be an object of multiple smaller objects, right? So all of this stuff is considered an individual. All right. And now, what is the variable? Well, if we know what the object is, then the variable is the adjective we're interested in. So what adjective of the house are we interested in? Price. Right? What adjective of the person are we interested in? Maybe hair color. Maybe what adjective of the school are we interested in? SATs, scores, whatever it is, that is our variable. And that is absolutely true in statistics, not necessarily true in other things, but it's the adjective describing the individual we're interested in. All right. Well, then finally is, okay, great. So we've got these variables. What kind of variables are they? What kind of adjectives are there? Well, there are variables with words, for answers. So I'm going to use the word variables because I want you to get practice with that, with words as answers. So what's a variable with words as answer? Well, what about your hair color? What's your hair color? Would you say 3, 4? Are you a 5 hair color? No, right? You'd say, right, black, blonde, or dyed, or whatever it is, stuff like that. And so other things might be ethnicity. What else? It might be what country. Might be what phone service you use. I'm pretty stoked. I finally got a Apple, my first Apple since like the iPod. So yeah, I'm old. But anyway, I'm happy with my iPhone. It is sweet. It's iPhone 12. So I got good pictures now. Anyway, that is so iPhone, right? It's a categorical. What if we wanted to talk about quantitative? What do you think quantitative would be? This is where I could pause. Maybe I'd put a quiz. What do you think quantitative is? We'll see. A quantitative are, of course, variables with, everyone say it. There's no one in your car. No, you shouldn't be listening to my stuff in the car. You should be at home listening to it. People should hear you through the walls saying numbers and go, what are you saying numbers for? Just talk, right? You're a verbal person unless you're not, right? And then you can listen silently. But talk to me, laugh, joke, groan, send me chats saying that was a bad joke too. You should really stop making jokes about whatever. Stop talking about your phone. So what we're doing is we're already starting to talk statistics. So I want to pause here, right? Because when you talk statistics, right, you need to draw statistics. So everything, and this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship you and I are going to have with this thing called the flow chart. Everything starts with a research question. What color hair should I dye? What color should I dye my hair? What's the prevailing cool color out there these days? I see the cars with all their tinted this and that, their blues and greens looking. What color should I dye my hair, right? I have dyeable hair. Okay, so then from there we got to collect data, right? So we got to go out and collect hair color information from people, right? And then we've got to look at that data. We've got to organize that data. So that's stuff you're going to get not too familiar with the, you'll explore some of the data with a final project, but you won't really get to play with too much data. You'll play with a little data now, but not bigger data sets until the final project. And then we'll be doing stuff in Excel, actually. So if you want to bone up on Excel right now and learn how to make histograms and all that, that's smart. All right. So once you get the data, well, what kind of data are there? Categorical, and then there is quantitative, right? And so if it's categorical, you make these kind of charts. And if it's quantitative, now here's a big deal, right? If it's quantitative, you can't make these charts. It's illegal to make these charts. You know what charts you have to make? And this is crucial. If you don't get this right, you'll fail my class. Ready? You have to make these kind of charts where you put the things together a little bit. So I got jokes. Sorry, this is called a bar chart, and this, my friends, is called a histogram. And what's the difference? Well, remember, what are the variables on the bottom here? Do you remember? Down here? The variables here are words as variables, right? So if we're going to have words as variables, then this has got to be something like, blue, right? For hair color, green, what? Red. Okay. And then for histograms, do you remember what a quantitative variable has? Check yourself. Been falling asleep again? All right, class just started. This isn't looking good. So histogram might be 0 through 9 for this one, and then 10 to 19 for the next one, right? And then, right, can you guess what's coming next? 20 to 29 for the next one, and so on. Okay. So this is statistics. This is the flow. This is understanding from numbers. How do you understand numbers? You make a picture. How do you make a picture? You got to figure out what kind of variable it is, and that'll tell you what kind of picture to make. Got it? Good. So those are our big ideas, and we will summarize that in the toolbox section here of how to make a bar chart, how to, and when is it useful, how to make a pie chart, when is it useful. So a bar chart is useful when analyzing categorical data, whereas and same with the bar chart also for categorical data, but technically when it adds up to 100%. I don't want to get too into it. It's not going to be on the test. How to make a histogram, right? That's a challenge. How to make a histogram, man. If you learn how to make a histogram in my class, that's like 30% of the class right there is making and understanding a histogram. Like, that's super, super, super critical. So if you learn that in high school or some other teacher some of the time, awesome. If you haven't, you'll learn it in my class. We'll do it a lot. But if you don't know how to make a histogram in my class, you will fail, right? Pretty simple. Histogram's not hard to learn, but it is hard enough that students who don't know how to do it usually are the ones who fail. And so for me, it's an indicator. So if you start turning in really bad histogram homework, even though I'm giving you full credit, I'm going to start calling you like, hey, what's going on here? Because you're going to fail, even though it's going to be a relatively easy course for folks, I think. So when is this useful? When making pictures of what? Quantitative data, right? Data with numbers. Okay. Cool. Moving right along. So we've inputted all of that. And finally, once we have the variable in question and we've made these bar charts and histograms, well, that is what a distribution is. So a distribution of a variable is a picture that summarizes the data by grouping it and then displaying it as a picture, right? I mean, so if you want to group data and look at it all together, you create a distribution. The different types of distributions that we are looking at are bar charts, pie charts, and I'm going to put those together. I'm going to say bar and pie charts because they're so often interused, and they both can be used for categorical data. But okay, just since it's being recorded, technically you can't always make a pie chart, but you can always make a bar chart. Okay, and if you can't do it, then you got to do it with a histogram. If you can't do it with either, then guess what? It's bad data. Like if I asked you for social security numbers, can't make a thing of that because everyone has a different one, right? It's like, what color hair do you have? Every single person has a different hair color. That's not going to make a nice picture. You just have one of everything, I mean, it's a cool concept, but it doesn't work well for math, right? We need to have groupings. We need to segregate all that, right? We need to separate all that stuff. That's what math does. That's why they get a bad rap, maybe, math people. But maybe understandably so, but we separate, we segregate, we do all that stuff. And so if we can't group it into different things, then we can't do anything with it. So the only data I'm going to give to you is data we can actually analyze. And we'll do it largely through a histogram, but initially we'll do it with a bar chart. Okay, so there we go. That was our foray. It was about a 10-20 minute thing. I probably put a marker on the video to skip all that, especially if you wanted to just get to the meat and potatoes. So here we are at the meat and potatoes. We've identified the vocabulary, individual, variable, categorical, quantitative, distribution. Okay, I didn't define exploratory data analysis, but exploratory data analysis is everything I just talked about. It's taking a research question and answering that research question. So exploring it by making graphs and whatnot. Okay, so let's do some exploratory data analysis. You can read this. This is a cool paragraph. I've already talked too much. So group work time. So of course this is when we do stuff in groups. I will make quizzes out of this to help you get through it. So let's just jump into it. What's the source of the data? When was it gathered? Okay, answer the quiz. All right, and this is from communitycollegereview.com. It said so. When was it gathered? Recently. Didn't say. Sorry, this was based off of a older version where I didn't have as up-to-date. Anyway, sorry. So who or what are the individuals represented by these data? Excellent question. Now this one I want you to think about. Who or what are the individuals described by these data? Okay, so did you get flubbed? Did you say it was the school or something? No, it is students, right? Who are we talking about? Are we talking about Los Vedanos College? No. What does the N of 9,000 mean, right? N of 9,747 students. We're looking at students. Difficult question. If you missed that, check yourself, right? Doesn't mean you won't fail to pass the class, but if you don't eventually figure it out, you won't pass the class. Okay, so now that we know we're talking about students, right? This is why we pause and try to take a quiz. So if you messed up, get it right this time. So what's the variable being measured? If we're looking at students, what about these students? Are we looking at their hair color? What are we looking at? All right, kind of gave that away. Yes, after the quiz came up, we are looking at ethnicity. And what are the values of the variables, right? The variables' values. And this is tricky. On your test, I'll have you. What are the variables? What are the values of the variables? And you can get all messed up with this stuff. I'm telling you. So the values of these variables are the answers. So are the variables 10%? Well, let me ask you. If I ask you your ethnicity, would you say I'm 10%? No. I'm 35%? No. You'd say I'm Hispanic, right? Or you wouldn't. You'd say Latino, but like whatever. There's a whole bunch of silly stuff that government does. So here it reports it as Hispanic. Apologize because that, of course, is a made-up name by Nixon to get the vote back in the 60s and 70s. So I don't like that term. White as well, right? Is interesting name too. Black. It's all. I don't know. I don't think anyone's happy with the category. Asian. I mean, come on. So. At any rate, it's good to talk about it though, right? Keeps it interesting, keeps it real. So what are the values that we have, that the government has ascribed to us as individuals? So Asian, exactly. Hispanic, black, white, 2 or more. And then I called this other, but there was like, of course, Native American, and in Los Medanos is very, very small. I've always had at least 1 or 2 Native American students in my class, which is I found weird, but the percentages are less than 1%. What type of variable is it? Ooh, great quiz question. Did you get it right? Did you say, oh, it should be quantitative because there's all these numbers here? Ha ha ha. Remember, who are math people? Are math people word people or number people? No, we're number people. So if we have a bunch of words as values, do we like that? No. We want to turn those words into numbers as quickly as possible. We see white, white, Hispanic, 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 Asian, Asian, other, black, white, Hispanic, Hispanic, black, white, black, Asian, other. And we go, too many words. Just tell me how many white people there are, how many Hispanic people, how many black, you know. So we turn these words into numbers, but these are words, right? And so there are words as answers. So it's categorical. Okay. Little thing on memory. You guys all have 100% memory of this. If I give you a test right now, you would all ace it, right? And that's how everyone does well in driver's training courses and all that, right? So, but what happens? You forget, and the next day it's all gone. Please, 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 please look up the curve of forgetting. Better yet, here it is. So this is, I just typed in curve of forgetting. It's from like Waterloo or something. I've been using this for like since 2009, 2010, I've been talking about this stuff. So yes, it's all the rage now, but I started this back in the day. Me and Carl Debro over at Contra Costa College. We were using this curve of forgetting because it's beautiful. This is what happens if you don't study. Isn't that crazy? So it's like, oh, I went to class today. I didn't go yesterday because I don't have class. And I went on Wednesday. Oh my God, I don't remember anything the teacher talked about. Wow, I must be stupid. No, you follow beautifully, perfectly, humanly along the curve of forgetting. So Please read this. It basically says you have to review this within 2 to 5 hours. Sometime tonight, right before you go to sleep, look at this all over again. What are you going to look at? Your notes. That's why you're writing all these notes down. Please be taking notes as you're doing this. Don't be doing this while in a car. Have a note paper out. Even if you're just writing these words down on a silly piece of scratch paper, look at it. Review this. You know, I have the markers on here. Re-listen to me. You know, whatever it takes. Okay. So does the pie chart show the distribution? Why or why not? Yes. It shows how the groups compare, right? In this case, the groups of ethnicities. Awesome. Great group work, guys. Let's move on. So I had a whole nother group work section here, but I'm sure you guys are bored of this, and I want to move into the last little bit before our time is up. Yes, this is our first class. It's almost over. Yay. Right? It's fast. So you'll need to reread this or rewatch this, perhaps. All right, I need you to read this. This is the most beautiful. Like, if you guys have kids, this will blow your mind. If you have ever thought that you were stupid, this will blow your mind. Raise your hand if you thought that you were bad at math, right? Okay? Raise your hand if you've ever hated math. Raise your hand if you ever, you know what I mean? Had an issue with a teacher, or had an issue with school, or had an issue with learning. Raise your hand. Right? This article will blow your mind. This is Dweck's article on mindsets, and it's a buzzword now, but again, it's something that Myra discovered it, and I copied it and used it, you know, blatantly for a long time. But oh, it chokes me up. No. But this stuff is truly amazing work. I use it on my own self every day. I talk about it with my wife, with my son, all of that stuff. I'm talking about this, you know. So please read this, and I'll just start by jumping into something here. Many students believe intelligence is fixed. Each person has a certain amount, and that's that. Fixed mindset is what this is called, and a fixed mindset makes challenges threatening for students. Challenges become threatening because students believe that their fixed ability may not be up to the task. What if the teacher's going to find out I'm not smart enough to do statistics? Can I just hide in there so that they don't see me and I just won't talk, right? And makes mistakes and failures demoralizing. Every time this person who thinks that they're hiding the fact that they don't know how to do math from me, and then they make a mistake, does that make them feel good or bad? It demoralizes them, right? However, others believe that intelligence is something that can be cultivated through effort. You know, maybe not everyone can be as smart as Einstein, but at the same time, everyone, even Einstein wasn't Einstein until he put years of hard work in. And there are people, you can get a degree, every single one of you, I swear to God, every single one of you can get a degree, a PhD, not a bachelor's, not a master's, a PhD in mathematics. I believe it. And I know I'm doing this through like a podcast, but like if you've ever seen me or stuff, I don't know, I'll be on, I'm intense about this stuff, right? Because it's true. If I can get this degree, you can. I have no analytical ability in my body, and yet I am trained up the wazoo in analytical thinking. And it makes me a pretty interesting kind of a person, and it could you as well. But the point is, you can all learn this. If you have a growth mindset, you can learn anything. How many of you rode a bike the first try? Right? Think of something that took you years to do. Any of you guys play sports? Any of you guys sing? You know, any of you guys play an instrument? How many years did it take? And you're worried about not being able to perform every week or something in a class? Come on. So the thing we got on our on our side is time, and so you keep doing the homework, you keep failing, and that is your learning. If you don't fail in my class every day, I messed up as a teacher. I'll repeat that again. If you don't mess up in class every day, if you don't fall on your face, crying, stressed out, pulling your hair out, right, in my class, then I failed, right? I didn't work you out, right? You're paying me, and I didn't work out you. I didn't work out your brain. So please fail and try and hard. And this is a beautiful article. Please read the whole thing. All right. enough of that. So what's so awesome about this, for those who are a little bit like Tua, this is a little new age hippie stuff. No, no, no. They steeped this in research. They did all this research here. These are all the research. She stumbled across it, and then doing a observational study. Then she went back and did an experiment. And when we learn about experiments at the end of the semester, we'll come back to this article and relook at it. It'll be cool. This article will change you. Believe me, I can't wait to hear the discussions from people in class after you guys have read this article. Why do you need to read the article? Because it's homework. So this is it, guys. This is your homework for tonight. Homework 1A. Please do it. Read the article and tell. How can you tell if someone has a growth mindset? So you can type it up, and you can like take a picture of it or send it to me. Whatever. I don't care. But there's a little slot in the Canvas, and we talked about it, I'm sure, in the first day. But you guys are all good at this. Honestly, you're all better than me at this. So I will apologize in the front. But you submit this, I will grade it. But this is tough for everyone, and I just want to say that you guys are heroes for coming back and taking an online stats class. The semester after COVID. That's not easy to do. I'm sure you have a million other things going on. But this is the only thing I ask, is that you truly tune in to my lecture for this time. It's not going to be long. We're at 34 minutes, right? And we're done. I'm pretty fast with this stuff, and I think within an hour or so we should be done every day. But please, please, please devote at least an hour every other day to this class where you're leading to my lecture, and then at night spend another half an hour doing the homework. And then if you can come to the math lab or come to the whatever we do as a class meeting as that gets figured out later, you'll get it one more time. Then you'll be good. Then you'll be fine. You'll do fine on the test, and as we talked about, and everything else will flow smoothly. All right, guys. Take care.